It is an absolutely beautiful day here in Palm Coast, Florida. The sun is shining, blue skies. It's a little chillier than you might imagine Florida would be, but that's normal for this time of year. Here on the north coast of Florida, for a few months, it does get a little bit drizzly and rainy, so it's not perfect. But I am always thankful that I made the choice to live in Florida. Florida is one of those places where your choices will either make you or break you. There's very little safety net here. If you make enough wrong choices, you might as well leave. If you make enough right choices, it will be nothing short of paradise. That's the reality of Florida. We welcome all. But one thing we do not welcome is those who believe they're entitled to something, or those who believe that they have the right to control others and what they believe. Never blame another person for your personal choices. You are still the one who must live out the consequences of your choices. Your life is a result of those choices that you make. If you don't like your life, it is time to start making better choices. Everything in your life is a reflection of a choice you have made. If you want a different result, make a different choice. Now, I've used the word choice a lot here in the first couple of minutes because it is the theme of today's video. Old folks, make the choice to live in Florida. Generally speaking, if you talk to folks approaching retirement age, one of their great dreams in North America would be to have a little place in Florida. And this has been true for decades. It's actually true globally. You'd have to ask yourself, why Florida? There are other places that have beaches. There are other places that have warm weather. Why Florida? Because if you make the right choices here, you will live the blessed life. And one thing you get from age is the ability to look back and see the choices you made that were bad. We've all done it. And the choices you've made that are good. And you can make a better plan going forward. One of the reasons that I chose to live in Florida was because of the easy access to fresh foods and healthful foods. Now, what does this all have to do with what's going on in the world and why is it important? Florida Maquis, you have been strangely silent about the issue with the truckers in Canada. Well, that's true. I've been trying to avoid it, but so many people have asked, I'm going to go ahead and reveal my opinion. I've never been a giant fan of Canada or Canadians. Why? Well, number one, for years and years and years, they have looked down their nose at North Americans. They believe their single-payer healthcare system is superior and that we were just ignorant and misinformed. And the farther south you went in North America, the worse that derision became. And in today's video, I'm going to show you proof of this from old articles. This fake nice, by the way, always being polite to everyone, never seemed real to me. It seemed very disingenuous. Anyone who's that polite and nice to everyone is trying to hide something. And besides, 90% of the big truck drivers in Canada complied with their evil, terrible, horrible mandates. Don't you find it strange? Don't you find it strange that the worst cities to live in for crime and tyranny, cities in the states of financial collapse, they're all along the Canadian border? Portland, Minneapolis, Chicago, Detroit, New York, all along the north, a wasteland of collapse and destruction and tyranny. Yet when you look at the southern United States, geographically speaking, as far as you can get away from Canada, you see peace and harmony and wealth and prosperity and liberty. I don't think that's a coincidence. Those who are doing what they're doing with their trucks are upset about the results that they've gotten from the choices they made. I know this quote is a little bit different, but it holds the same idea. Don't be upset about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. What it reminds me of is someone who's morbidly obese going to a McDonald's, a whole bunch of them, and protesting, basically saying it was McDonald's that was responsible for their health conditions, the fact that they have to go around in a motorized scooter, and that their knees hurt and their back hurts and they have all of these health problems. You see, Canadians made this choice. Canadians made this choice as a whole, and I have proof for this. 27 March 2017. This is going to make your jaw drop. You ready for this? What our neighbors to the north can teach us about healthcare reform. Now, this is a lot of blah, blah, blah about the Affordable Care Act. But wait until you get down to this section. How has Canada been effective at providing care and containing costs? We suggest two main reasons for its success, both of which offer lessons for the United States. First, to Canadians, healthcare is more than a matter of money and medicine. It is an expression of core national values. It's no coincidence that the late Tommy Douglas, the former Premier of Saskatchewan, who introduced universal public health care to Canada, was chosen by Canadians from across the country to be the greatest Canadian of all time. In 2004, simply put, universal health care has become central to how Canadians think about their identity. It reflects a national determination to take care of each other at moments of vulnerability and to place well-being over wealth. The greatest Canadian of all time, voted that way by the majority of Canadians, was a guy who introduced universal public health care to Canada. Oh, fast forward just 4 short years later. Canada's high income tax rates are making us less competitive. Imagine that, a negative result from your choices. Imagine the law of unforeseen consequences. Canadians are haughty, they're high-minded, they're self-involved, and now the time has come to pay the piper. And don't let them convince you for 1 minute that they think all people are the same. You see, here is a chart of insured residents' daily charges, or there's ER visits. It's basically free as long as you're a Canadian citizen. Anyone else that would happen to go to Canada and have an issue where they needed to go, see, they don't believe in equal health care for all. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars charged to foreigners, us Americans. Thousands and thousands of dollars, while their people, having been born there, get the freebies. Now, choices. Some people are out there, but my craptaflaptomajologist said that I can't do this, and I can't exercise, and all this other blah, blah, blah. This is one of my viewers. This is not a professional model. I've talked about this guy before. He'll be down in the comment section. Tim Bassett. See, you look at all these numbers and they seem very sanitized. The man's a decade and a half older than I am. 721 total floors. Almost 58 miles in a week. 3,200 calories burned. You know what this equates to me as, having done workouts like this? Pain. This is the real story. Canadians chose to put off the pain until later, and now they're getting the result. Tim Bassett, my follower, chose to accept the pain now, and he gets the results. I put up this picture a few videos back in my 63rd year. In response to some private messages, I don't lift traditional weights anymore. Logs, concrete blocks, bags of rock salt, push-ups, pull-ups, burpees, and bear crawl while I drag a tire and a kit. Okay, you know what all that means to me? Pain. If you're this age and you're doing what he's saying he's doing, you are going to look like this, and you are going to have pain in your life. Pain while you're doing it, and likely pain the next morning, at least. Now, full disclosure, if Tim Bassett and I were walking along the beach together, he would have a much higher chance of getting a phone number of one of these girls than I would, because he looks a hell of a lot better than I do. And he's a decade and a half older. You see, I've made choices to sit behind a computer 6, 8 hours a day, combing Antarctica for things to show my audience, and it has been not good for my health. That's why I'm stepping away from Antarctica. That and other channels stealing my stuff and pawning it off as their own, but that's another story for another day. One reason I like this picture so much is because there's no pretension here. There's no pretentiousness, whatever word you want to use. And, once again, you can tell it's a result of choices. You can make different choices. You see, Canadians want to make you believe that everyone is the same and that they're all equal, and that anyone who works harder than anyone else should never be able to show in public any result of that. Meaning, if you've worked overtime every week and you've saved your money and you got a nicer car, that's not fair. Everybody should have that car. If you've decided to go to the gym every single night for months on end, well, you should cover yourself up. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings by looking like this. You don't make any other men feel bad about themselves because they didn't make the choices you did. See, that's what Canadians believe. I've counseled people to watch the series Black Sails, but I actually found one contradiction. You see, this character, this pirate, would have never had, no pirate, by the way, would have had a body like this. Why? Because to get a body like this, you would have had to have been acquainted with pain and done the work and made the sacrifice to look like this guy does. Pirates like the easy way out. They like something for nothing. They don't want to do the hard work. That's too much of a problem. I don't want to make all that sacrifice. I want to feel good today. I want to feel good tomorrow. I want to feel good as long as I can make myself feel good, because I know there'll never be a day that comes whenever I have to pay the piper. Well, guess what, Canada? Especially you Canadian truckers. It's time to pay the piper. And I know you don't like it. See, this is something that Florida and Brazil have in common. We love the idea of shaming people for bad decisions. It's a wonderful thing to do. You shame them for bad decisions. They make better decisions. They make better decisions. They're happier. I've never met anyone who was 400 pounds having to use a scooter to drive around in who was happy. Never. I've heard a lot of excuses. And also, and I'm going to leave with this. Those of you ladies out there who have been clutching their pearls for the last few minutes, you're telling me that if you saw this guy at the beach, you would counsel him to cover up. You would tell him you need to put something on, because the image of you could cause ladies to have an impure thought. Yeah. I don't think you would you? You see, it's only a one-way street with a lot of women. That if there's a girl walking around in a bikini, and that bikini could cause a man to have an impure thought, well, she's evil. But if a man would walk around giving ladies at the beach a case of the screaming thigh sweats, I very much doubt anyone would condemn him for doing the same thing. Of course, that would mean that you're psychic and that you know the intent of the heart. It could just be that both this individual and these individuals here are just trying to get a tan, and they don't really care what you think, one way or the other. Florida is a beautiful place. It is as close to paradise as I have ever seen in the world. But make no mistake, your choices will have ramifications here, usually right away. So just be warned. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.